Hey y'all, welcome to Cop Talk. This is the second video. I'm still talking about being a reserve officer and working for free. And I got a call one day. I was riding around with a sergeant, and there was a guy at an apartment complex, an officer there, and he'd gone to arrest a guy. And the people in the complex didn't want him arrested. So they start coming out of their houses, out of their apartments, and they surround this officer. And he gets on radio and he's obviously yelling for help. So we get there, and now this is way before cell phones and cameras, body cams, all that kind of stuff. We didn't have any of that kind of stuff. And so they're all wading out through and coming out of their apartments, and they're screaming, and you can't take this guy to jail, and they're mad. And so my sergeant thinks there's fixing to be a riot. And back in the day, we used to ride with a shotgun between the driver and the passenger seat in the squad car. They don't do that anymore. Most people, the shotgun's kind of fallen out of favor. They go with the AR. But we had a shotgun back in the day. And so my sergeant said, "Get that shotgun out of there." So I did. And now mind you, again, I have like very little police experience. And as I get the shotgun out, the people are really just threatening to blow that place up. And just really start to riot. And they're screaming at the officer, and they're screaming they don't want this done, they don't want that done. Anyway, my sergeant looked at me and he said, "You wrecked that shotgun." Well, I wrecked that round. Just like that, I wrecked that round right in that shotgun. And let me tell you how quiet it got. It got dead quiet. And everybody started, and they started looking around, and my sergeant said, "Now, you MFers, you go back in your apartments. This guy's going to jail, and you're not going to give us any trouble." And they said, "You're right, we believe we'll go back in the apartments." And they turned around and went back in their houses. The officer arrested the guy, took him to jail, and there wasn't any more trouble. Could you do that today? Absolutely not. People would go crazy. Can't do that kind of stuff today. But we did it back in the day. And I'm working for free. And I'm thinking, wow, this is kind of wild how this gets here. You know, pretty crazy. But it worked out. I mean, the guy went to jail. Nobody got hurt. Nobody in the crowd got hurt. The guy got arrested wasn't hurt. No officers were hurt. It was a good thing. But like I said, you certainly couldn't do that today. And then one day I'd come in to work a shift, and I was working by myself, and I got a call of a deceased person. Well, again, I have like no police experience. Just riding out with regular officers, that's all. But I do know at least enough to sort of know what to do. So I get there, and an elderly woman had passed away sometime during the night. You can see her through a bedroom window. So I get there, and I'm, writing people's names down and trying to determine who she was and how old she was and when the last time people saw her, when they last talked to her. And her grandson comes flying up, and he comes up and he's running towards the house. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute. And he's like, "No, I'm going in there. That's my grandmother." I said, "Okay, wait just a second. If you go in and kick the door down, we got to wait on the paramedics to get here." And I said, "I don't think it's going to work out." I said, I think she's probably passed away. And the coroner's office has to be notified. They're in charge of your grandmother's body. So I can't let you go in there. You can't kick the door down. And he's like, "Oh, okay." I said, "I'm very sorry, And so he said, okay. He said, "Well, I'm just going to go ride around." He was a kid. And he said, "I'm just going to go ride around." I said, "No. How about you just put your keys up on the hood of my car. Leave them right there. And just wait on the rest of your family to get here." Was that legal? Did I have the authority to tell him to do that? No, I didn't. but I was afraid for him to drive. I was afraid he would crash. So he agreed to that, and I went on about my business. Regular officer got there, you know, walked me through what to do, and this kid came up to me in a few minutes, and he said, my family's here, and I'm going with them. He said, I want to thank you for not letting me drive. I said, no problem. I said, I completely and totally understand. So I felt good about that, and I went on to the station and then did a report on the poor woman that had passed away. And then one day I was dispatching. Hadn't even gone through the police academy yet. They brought a woman in that was a heroin addict, and she had the DTs, and she was sick. And she was shaking so hard I couldn't believe it. I never seen anybody shake that hard. And so they call the paramedics. They come get her. They take her to the hospital. Well, somebody got the bright idea, because I was the only female officer. I wasn't even an officer. I was the only female in the station. All the officers that were working were male. They said, you ride with her. I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, you ride with her. So I said, okay. So I get in the back of the ambulance with her, and the EMT guys are working on her. And I promise you, she was shaking so hard, I thought she was going to come apart. I did. I thought she was going to come apart and puking up every color in the rainbow. And I thought to myself, I'm never doing whatever it is she's doing. I found out she was a heroin addict. I'm never doing that. Never. And I never did. So, anyway, that's more little stories, cop stories. So, again, if anybody sees this, please donate to the hurricane relief effort. And to quote Hill Street Blues again, y'all be careful out there.